Um, Beginning with the land acknowledgement. As we gather this evening, we pause to remember that in this province, we live and work on lands that are by law the unceded territories of the Wabanaki peoples, predominantly the land of the Mi'kmaq. May we live with respect on this land and live in peace and friendship with its people. We also recognize the African Nova Scotians whose culture, heritage, and history have been and remain a key part of our province for more than 400 years. I'd like to begin by asking for the approval of the agenda. Moved by Deputy Mayor Dorrington.
Seconded.
Seconded by Councillor McKenna. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. With that, we're going to move into our first presentation. I feel strange talking to you when I can't see you, so I think I'll stand up. Is that a good idea? Because you, Ryan, I couldn't see. And Bob. Hi, Sue. It is a great pleasure to have our Steve Peru, his wife Lauren, with us this evening. Tonight we are going to unveil a very special painting that is a commemorative art piece in celebration of the 150th anniversary of the incorporation of our town in 1875. Artist Steve and his wife Bonnie have been residents of Alaska for 22 years. We are grateful this is where they chose to raise their children Dylan and Christina. Now both grown, Christina has also chosen to launch her career in law here, and Dylan is not far away in Halifax. Steve spent 30 years in the corporate world, most recently as Vice President of Development with Tommy Reed. After living in several Atlantic cities during his work tenure, he moved to New Glasgow in 2003. Both parents and children were heavily involved in local sports. Steve is a hockey coach and Leafs Junior A hockey board member, and Bonnie is manager of both female hockey and soccer teams, as well as sitting on board for Special Olympics in HGRS. As a boy and young man, Steve's hobbies included playing sports at high levels, but the arts was also one of his lifelong passions. And as an artist and musician, these hobbies were always close to his heart, and upon an early retirement in 2020, he was able to return to these renewed vigor. We have also heard that Steve's mother is an artist, so that seems likely that it's where he got his talent. Watercolor is a beautiful medium, allowing various possibilities of expression. Steve's rendering of our majestic town hall is stunning. Watercolor has been around for a long time and dates back as far as the Stone Age. Steve's work shows incredible detail in a medium that does not always lend itself to visibility. He brings the architectural wonder of the town hall and vibrancy of the streetscape to life with realness and varied views. This piece, paired with the extraordinary metal artwork by Gary Martin, inspired by Mi'kmaq artist Loretta Gould, are creating a lasting legacy for the 150th anniversary celebration and for many years to come. Throughout the year, we will be hosting events, programs, and projects that will be unforgettable, including in addition to our Heritage Painting series. I would now like to ask you to join me as we unveil the 150th commemorative painting. Okay. Let's go. You want to just hold it together instead of the glare of it. Hold it together. Like take it off the easel. Oh, take it off the easel. There we go. Council, would you like to do a picture of all council? Did Bonnie do anything on this? Or do you have any spiritual work? Come on, Bonnie. Come on here.
We'll get them three there first.
Oh, you want the three drops?
Steve will just brush us.
Is that good?
Want to jump in there? Oh, come on, you're an artist.
Yeah, right here, yeah. Like gorgeous.
Spoke to Rat a couple of weeks ago. He's happy to do that
We don't have to make stuff.
buying the property. Stuff.
Like property transaction?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
File development agreements, whatever.
Oh,
And he's
perfect.
happy to do it.
Okay.
So we can pass that on to Alistair.
Perfect.
Just,
That's it.
he has a woman by the name of Jen
That's great.
who works with him. He has like a
Started that, we have an incredible number of artists and musicians and sports people in Pictou County. They thought it was the water that people were saying water, but you know, I can't help but they see, like, you know, music and sports, all of those things. There's certain parts of your brain that are working in high gear. So thank you for this. It's beautiful. And we will have prints available. We've already had somebody present as gifts, so we're just delighted to have this. And
Thank you.
very good.
Yeah, can we just, it, so it's still visible?
I really do like the mat and the frame.
It looks better in person.
Okay, moving on to our next presentation, I'd like to welcome Rebecca. And I see you have your sidekick here, Mr. Surratt. Where's your fancy outfit? It is.
It's at the dry cleaners.
Thank you.
We should have one for you. Do we have any more?
151?
We do. Anybody have extra 150 buttons? Clyde probably does. Yes, we'll get them before you leave. Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you for allowing us 2 hours tonight for our presentation. Pretty hard act to follow there. But, please be patient as we go through. We're well practiced. I think we've been to every municipal unit now, so we save the best for last. A quick history lesson. As you all know, the ship Hector landed in Pictou in September of '73. 171 Scottish immigrants on board. And it looked much different then, of course, than it does now, with a scattering of European settlement and Mi'kmaq population. A lot of these immigrants did stay right in the town of Pictou area, but many moved into communities like Green Hill, Durham, Clellans Brook. And names like McDonald, Mackenzie, McLeod, McKay, Campbell, Fraser, and Grant are still predominant in our communities here. And a lot of folks can trace their history back, including the Sobeys family, which we're happy that they can. It's been beneficial to our fundraising campaign. The Ship Hector, in partnership with the Pictou Landing First Nation, is committed to preserving and sharing the history and this story for years to come. My name is Wes Surratt. I'm the chair of the Ship Hector Society. That's what happens when you don't show up to an AGM. You get voted in, you can't find yourself out. I'm also with me tonight, and you'll hear from them as well, as our ship restoration manager, Bern Shea. and our tourism manager, Rebecca. And one great thing about a project like this is you don't lean always on just the volunteer board. You can actually hire people to do some work. The volunteer board did decide to take on this massive project in 2019. Our commitment and the board's commitment always has been is to create a sustainable attraction there on the Pictou waterfront. And as many of you know, it was not sustaining very well for years. So of course we kicked this project off in 2019, and a pandemic followed soon thereafter. But our goal is to have a sustainable operation there, and really we believe it can be an iconic tourism attraction in this province. And when you've dealt in the tourism industry as long as I have, and you know, that was my main goal of this project is, you know, locations are often built around iconic pieces like the Cabot Trail and Peggy's Cove Lighthouse and things like that. I truly believe that we're creating an iconic thing here that will benefit not only the town and not only the county, but the whole of the Northumberland shore. And so in our plans, when we set out, most of the revenue that's going to sustain this operations come from the ship itself. We are transforming this from a dockside attraction to a fully operational passenger sailing vessel. And with daytime tours, with nighttime tours, that can accommodate up to 60 people. We see ourselves doing special events, corporate charters, weddings. It really does have a very unique opportunity. We also have some experiential learning tourism, much like the Blue Nose does, with taking on crew and a 5-month sailing school. So that is where the majority of our revenues will come from and sustain the site. And Vern will get in later on how awesome this experience is going to be. Although they're using very innovative and methods to build and preserve this ship. When you're on it, it will really feel like you're sailing aboard the original ship. Electric propulsion, so it'll just feel like you're under sail. You won't hear any diesel engines rolling. Although the ship is probably going to be in better shape now than it was in 1773. 15% of our projected revenue comes from our boat building school, which will be on the site there. And as many of you know, wooden boat building is becoming a lost craft, and we really see a lot of great opportunities there. I mean, we've got one of the best with us here tonight, and we've got lots of support for curriculum around those types of activities. And of course, right now, and if you walked in there today, you would see it. The interpretive center itself is undergoing a massive overhaul with a lot of, instead of static displays, a lot of new and interactive and some pretty cool things going on inside, which hopefully you'll be able to see very, very soon. So far, since we've kicked off this campaign, we've raised just over $1.8 million in private donations and pledges, which we've been very proud of. Been great supporters. Some big supporters are featured there. If you look at the campaign in its totality here, you can see that what our cost projections were. And of course, even from when we started in 2019 to after the pandemic, a lot of materials took a big change. But you can see between the removals and the restoration, the construction, the mast, the riggings, the sails, the electrical systems, the admin, the launch, and other things, the grand total of the budget to do the ship over itself is about $3.56 million. To date, which we've raised for about 1.8, 1.9 million. So really, we're at 1.8. We've got another just about 6 to raise to complete this project. That's the ship itself. And one thing that's often misconceived when we're going out to seek donations is the interpretive center, which was fully funded by government. So you can see the budget for the interpretive budget was 4.2 million, and it's been fully funded by the province and DECOA. So a lot of people, when you say, can we please have your money? They say, well, you've got lots of money from government. But unfortunately, none of that public money could go towards the ship itself. It has been dedicated to the interpretive center. So that's where we are to date. Is that all my slides? Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Perfect. So I'm going to hand over to Vern, and he can speak more about the awesome work he's been doing with the ship.
Yeah. There's only 2 buttons. Well, we're getting ready for July 12th. It's coming really fast somehow, and but anyway, we're coming along quite nicely. Weather, I wish it would cooperate a little bit better, but we'll do with what we can. So to date, when we hauled this or lifted the ship out of the water, I guess the old girl was in pretty hard shape, a lot more than what we had really thought until we got into it. So basically, we had to strip the ship right down to where you can see that white line, that boot topping on top of the water line. That all went. It was totally deteriorated. A lot of the inside structure we had to take out, some of the decking. But once we got that and found out what we were dealing with, then it took us, I'd say, the better part of the first year just to deconstruct the ship to a point where we could get back and start rebuilding the vessel. And anyway, once we started, we weren't going to stop. So we saved all the underwater plank. That was in really good shape. We splined it. So we basically took all the cotton and oakum out, put all new planking from the white line right up to that big white line with new plank. And then we fiberglassed the whole hull with 2 layers of fiberglass and 6 around the keel and up past the garboards. And then all the top sides, the upper part of the ship, is all composite material. So that went on, that's been fiberglassed. Then we put wood sheathing over top of that, and the same with the decks. When we had to clear out the old deck, we put down new decks, we glassed them, and then we put Douglas fir down on top of that with caulking seams. So when you step on the deck, you're actually standing on a sacrificial wooden deck. The same, we put whales, thick plank around. They're all sacrificial. The ship itself is totally encapsulated in fiberglass. So it won't rot. Anything that rots, it's just a matter of replacing it because, like I said, it's sacrificial. So we added 1, 2, 3 new decks to the vessel to make the accommodation of passengers a lot better. Plus, we're able to hide all the machinery that goes into a modern vessel. Bluenose, if you step on hers, you got great big ventilators sitting on deck. Not that it takes away from it, but we got clear of that because we have other ways where we can hide it in machinery compartments. So all that stuff will be hidden. The only thing you'll probably see are light racks, right? Which you can't really hide them because if they need them, they need them. But all the rigging, all the masts, when they go back up, that'll be as per what we had on her before. So none of that changes. So basically, the ship itself, as Wes said, when you step aboard it, you will think you're on, and you are. It's a completely wooden vessel. It's just that the protective coating is a little bit more durable than paint over. Our propulsion system, as Wes said, will be electric motors. Part of the 4.3 million was installing solar panels on the buildings down there, and the power that provides will help offset the cost of the operation, plus charge our batteries when we're between trips out of it picked apart. So, and it will give you the experience. You won't hear anything. So it's kind of neat that way. And other than that, that's about where we are. We got all the launch ways under the boat. We got all the sliding ways under the boat. It's just a matter of hoping that the triggers work and it slides down the ways. Our grease doesn't seem to be as slippery this time around. I don't know what the hell happened, but the other stuff we called it banana grease, right? Boy, it was slippery, but this, we're a little apprehensive on this stuff, but I think it'll probably go in. It'll go in the water one way or another. But yeah, so we're coming along nicely. And then once the ship goes back into the water, we have to rebuild the wharf that we tore off in order to facilitate the sideline. And it's kind of a good thing we did. It was getting a little doty after 25 years, and we're going to raise it up because of the rising water levels within the harbor. So it's a plus plus. So other than that, we'll have a boat building school, like Wes said, and start teaching these skills. And we hope to bring on at-risk people on the ship, kids especially, so they can get out of some kind of environment they may be in and be able to go for a sail on the boat or become a trainee. Senior sails, people that may not normally go to do that, we'll be accommodating those groups and give them an experience that they probably won't forget. Maybe even help them a little bit, right? So, any questions, or we'll wait till the end? Okay, there, I got my operator. Marching orders.
So we are building a destination in Pictou with the Ship Hector. We believe that our business plan so far has shown that we're going to have 3,300 additional visitors to Pictou the first year that the Ship Hector is providing boat tours in the harbor. And this number is expected to grow by 10% a year following 5 years. Anticipated bus tour operators, business will double in the next 5 years, and we've already seen indications of that. We get 93,000 visitors annually to Pictou now. 25% of all visits to Northumberland Shore, Amherst and Ganesh come to Pictou, and half of all people who come to Pictou County as tourists come to Pictou. Thanks in part to visitors from across Canada, the U.S., Europe, who are drawn to the Hector Heritage Key. So we do see a large number. 25% of our visitation last year was from the U.S. We haven't seen any change in that so far. Even with the trade wars, we haven't seen any cancellations or anything. If anything, we're seeing a bit of an uptick, especially within the country and from Europe and bookings. We see a lot from the EU. We see a lot from other parts of Canada, Upper Canada and Western Canada as well. And when we get into Europe, we're looking at Scotland, England, Ireland, a little bit from France, a lot from Germany. But these are all targets of Tourism Nova Scotia too, so that's not entirely an accident. We have the second highest occupancy rate in the province. Of course, we don't have a very high rate, and this is where we benefit everybody. With the amount of visitors and people we're projecting to come into the county, we only have 100 rooms in Pictou every night. So if we're going to become a landmark destination, which we hope to become, then we're going to spill out into the rest of Pictou County. It's going to be New Glasgow, Stellarton, all these places that help accommodate all these new visitors and give them more to do when they're here. And I always say, when I talk to Tourism Nova Scotia, they back this up too. We're kind of a one-night stay on the way to Cape Breton. So people will come off the ferry, they'll stay overnight, they'll go to Cape Breton the next day, or they're coming from Cape Breton, they're staying overnight, and they're going to Halifax the next day, but we're not the destination. We're the stopover. So we have to make that stopover, turn us from a stopover into a destination. And we think that we can help do that by doing this. And then once we get them here, we get to expel all the other wonderful opportunities there are in the county, besides the Hector, for them to do while they're in Pictou County. So our economic projections from those 3,300 people is very good and increasing 10% year over year. We're going to go from about 800,000 economic impact in the first year to 1.2 million within 5. As Wes mentioned, we have been to all the other municipalities and made presentations in the last little while. Our first big supporters, of course, and some of our biggest supporters all the way along has been the town of Pictou and the municipality of Pictou County. They've been very, very good to us and always seen our value and supported us. We decided to go further afield and come show what maybe we can do to all of Pictou County. And we are asking that for a donation that would match the town of Pictou and the municipality, which was $10,000 last year from each of the other municipalities, just to show our support when we go to the province and ask them for additional funding, that we have the support of all the municipalities in Pictou County, that we think we can do something wonderful here. So we hope you'll join us in our quest to become a landmark destination in Nova Scotia and even in Canada. Does anybody have any questions for Wes or Werner?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for that. Council, any questions
Not a question, but
or comment?
comment. Wedding photos, you climbed up. You climbed the rigging in your wedding dress? I left full heel. I have all due respect for you, Don. Wow. And we will be able to do more things like that. We can charter it out, we can do weddings, reception, and corporate events and things like that. So those are all things we can start incorporating more into this. So who knows, maybe we'll have our 25th wedding. I think it's a good idea.
Anybody else? Comments, questions? Okay. Thank you, Vern. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Wes. That was excellent presentation. Really excited about this project, and it's sort of proof that you stick with something when you know it's a great project, and it's exciting when it's getting close. So thank you very, very much for joining us this evening, and we'll be in touch. Oh, sorry. Mhm. Yeah, I can just add to that. Actually, Kim is sort of spearheading a lot of these, and we've already had a meeting with Jim, and Tor was part of that. And
For all the visiting priors, who will show people.
so I'm sure Kim will be in touch. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Thanks very much. Okay, we're going to move on to, I'm going to ask for the approval of the consent agenda, which are our minutes of our council and committee of the whole meeting held on April 14th, as well as the proclamations.
I so move.
Moved by Councillor Peters,
I'll second that.
seconded by Councillor McDonald. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, everyone. Just mentioned that the VON flag did go up today. And there was next, Access Awareness Week. We'll be raising the flag on Monday, May 26th, and all council and anybody that wants to come is welcome to join us. We're going to move on to the reports. I'm going to ask for the approval of the committee of the whole report.
Yes, your worship. I'll motion that we accept the committee of the whole
Moved by
report
Councillor
submitted.
Joel McDonald.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councillor Jessica McDonald. Any questions on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Our engineering and public works report.
Yes, your worship. I'll also motion that we accept the engineering and public works report as submitted.
Moved by Councillor Joe McDonald. Seconded by Councillor Peters. Any questions on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Solid waste report.
Move to accept the solid waste report as circular.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Dorrington.
Second that.
Seconded by Councillor McKenna. Any questions on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Police report.
Move to accept the police report as circulated.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Dorrington.
I'll second that.
have a question.
Yeah, just wait. Seconded by Councillor Jessica McDonald. Question?
Chief, thank you for the report. Just with the recent incidents that have gone on in British Columbia and before that in Ontario, the tragedy of vehicular homicides, mass killings. I'm just wondering if we should be looking at taking more precautions with our public events that we host down in around Glasgow Square. I'm thinking of the Jubilee. I'm thinking of other events like other. I just think we should take a look at that. Have you considered that?
Thanks for the question, Councillor. Yes, we have in fact, the most recent event, we've seen a different deployment of some public works vehicles at some of the major intersections. And I did start to do some research on strategies and barricade alternatives for public events, given what has gone on, and using larger vehicles at major intersections is actually one of the strategies that's being used across the country. It strikes that balance between a heavy-duty barricade but also mobility for access for emergency vehicles. There are other alternatives that I've looked at preliminary devices that can be purchased. There's portable steel barricades that essentially reflect the trajectory of the vehicle or vehicle assault. There's more expensive options in terms of like telescopic bollards that would be into the ground, in particular bollards that we see that go up and down. I think there's a little bit more research and collaboration probably between police, public works, fire, and that with other recommendations. But Earl recently was working on a public event street closure safe work practice, and that's an aspect of that Earl and I have been a little back and forth on, making sure that that's a consideration for any street closure. The Jersey barriers, of course, are a great option, but the balance that we have there is access for emergency vehicles. So in the meantime, any of the main intersections, the recommendation using the resources that we have would be heavy duty vehicles.
Thank you. I think that's a good idea. I also think that the day of the wooden barriers is coming to an end, or it should be coming to an end at this point in time. Thank you.
Any further questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The Community Development Report.
Yes, Your Worship, I'll motion that we accept the community development report as submitted.
I'll second that.
Moved by Councillor Joe McDonald, seconded by Councillor Peters. Any questions on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Our Business Development Officer report.
Yes, Your Worship. I would move that we accept the business development report as circulated in our package.
Moved by Councillor Fraser.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councillor Joe McDonald. Any questions on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nay. Opposed? Motion carried. Fire report and fire inspection report.
Yes, Your Worship, that I move that we accept the fire report and fire inspection report as circulated.
Moved by Councillor Peters. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Dorrington. Any questions on the report?
Yes, Your Worship.
Go ahead.
I just have some questions about, I'm just wondering if you could tell me a little bit more about the encampment fires. There was 2 encampment fires and a campfire, and when we're coming into fire season, what kinds of, is that normal? Are we above normal?
Councilor Peters, thanks for your question. It's about the norm right at the moment for campfires. They're starting to move out of their vacant buildings, hauling that into the wooded area along the trail system. Those 2 fires of that weekend were from the road, the Crowing Rate Trail, the Dawn Road Trail. They're about 400 feet off the trail, large encampments, with police assistance. And actually, we had a Tony Tigger drone and fly the area that week following to give police and fire a little better understanding of what our tree line areas behind the hospital, in Chisholm Street, behind the Crowing Rate, just so we have a little better understanding of the terrain we're dealing with, and let's see if we can flag anything that might be coming in the regular wildfire season if it happens to get that far. So again, with all the resources from the other departments working together, because I share the Tony's flight path with the police too, so that they have a resource to go to in that area for any reason as well. So I think it's an ongoing problem. Are always going to have to deal with, but we need to try to stay on top of it, do the best way we can pursue it and keep everybody informed.
Thank you, Chief White.
Thank you. Any other questions? With that, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The building report,
I'll move to accept the building report as circulated.
moved by Councillor Jessica McDonald,
I'll second that.
seconded by Councillor Peters. Any questions on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Information technology report.
Yes, Your Worship, I would move that we accept the report as circulated from our Information Technology Department. And I'd like to draw attention to a couple items that
Sure.
are in that are just quite interesting. One makes reference to the fact that if you travel through the United States, you presently you could be intercepted by legal or authorities without any questions. And then the other one was that I happened to just let you know I read one of the reports, and the other one was that we now have the camera working, so the battery's working, so you can watch your excuse me, watch the weather turn as cars go up through the riverside and across the bridge, and you can take a station there, Mr. Chief, and watch things. Anyway, there's lots of information in
Lots
that
of good
package,
information.
and sometimes we have tended to skip over some of
Mhm.
what we should watch.
That's great.
I'll second that.
Moved by Councillor Fraser, seconded by Councillor Peters. Are there any other questions or on the report? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The Human Resources and Corporate Communications report.
Yes, Your Worship, I move that we accept the Human Resources and Corporate Communications report as circulated.
Moved by Councillor Peters.
I'll second.
Seconded by Deputy Mayor Dorrington. Any questions on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Our strategic initiatives and projects report.
Yes, Your Worship, I would move that we accept this report, and once again, there's packed with material, so move that.
Moved by Councillor Fraser.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councillor Joe McDonald. Any questions on the motion? Just a comment. I just want to say, and it's been well publicized and great media attention and great support from citizens far and wide. An amazing launch of New Glasgow 150, and I think I don't know if I've seen anything that's garnered more attention than the artwork on the river. Every time I drive by, there's people down looking at it. So no question, it's a legacy piece. And with that, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thanks everyone, and thanks to staff for the great reports. Okay, On to our presentation of budgets for fiscal 25-26. Councillor Fraser.
Worship. Yes, the tax resolution for 25-26 comes in different parts, so please bear with me. Be it resolved that the estimated expenditures for the town of Glasgow for the period April 1st, 2025 to March 31st, 2026 be approved, accepted, and adopted in the amount of $25,776,599. And after making allowance for estimated revenue in the amount of $7,741,099, the amount of $18,035,500 is required from the general taxation of the assessed valuation of $770,463,600. Do you wish for me to carry?
Yes.
Yeah. Therefore, be it resolved that the tax rate for the town of Glasgow for the period April 1st, 2025 to March 31st, 2026 be set at $1.84 per $100 of assessment for residential resource properties and $4.45 per $100 of assessed commercial property. Be it further resolved that the pollution control rate of $1.40 per cubic meter of water be applied at the current pollution control charge. So that stays the same. Be it further resolved that a solid waste uniform charge of $183 per residential dwelling unit be applied as a solid waste charge for all dwelling units of 4 or less. And be it further resolved that the rate of taxes for the current period may be collected by warrant and distress without further notice if not paid on or before the 31st day of March 2026, together with all costs and expenses of levy and sale of good on all proceedings incidental thereto. And further, if the said taxes are not paid before June 1st, 2025, for the interim tax bill, and November 1st, 2025 for the final billing, an added penalty charge will be payable at a rate of 15% per annum on the balance of all outstanding tax accounts. Thank you.
Okay. And you're going to make the motion?
Therefore, I move we accept the presentation I just made.
Resolution.
I will second Councillor Fraser's resolution.
Yes, okay. And the operating budget that follows. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay. That's okay. You don't have, it doesn't have to read that. No. Okay. Any questions on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have the water utility budget. Just a motion to approve.
I move that the water utility operating budget for the fiscal 2025-2026 be adopted.
Moved by Councillor McKenna.
Seconded.
Seconded by Deputy Mayor Dorrington. Any questions on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The capital budget.
Yes, Your Worship, I move that we approve the capital budget as presented in our package.
Moved by Councillor Fraser.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councillor Peters. Any question on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Finally, our water utility capital budget.
I'll move to accept the water utility budget.
And I'll second that. Thank you.
Moved by Councillor Jessica McDonald, seconded by Councillor Fraser. Any questions on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I have some comments I'd like to share. I'm pleased to share with you the outcomes of our budget review process for the fiscal year 2025-2026. The town of New Glasgow has approached this process with diligence and care, guided by our commitment to support and grow the community while navigating current economic realities. I am pleased to announce that we will maintain both our residential and commercial tax rates. The residential tax rate remains steady at $1.84 per 100 of assessment, while the commercial tax rate will also stay unchanged at $4.45 per 100 of assessment. The annual solid waste uniform charge per residential dwelling will increase by $15, bringing it to $183 for the upcoming fiscal year. Our total operating budget for the upcoming year is set at $25,776,599. This represents a necessary adjustment to address rising costs and to support critical investments in our town's infrastructure, services, and future development. New Glasgow continues to thrive as a leading commercial service center in northern Nova Scotia, serving a vibrant Pictou County population of nearly 45,000 daily, in addition to a wider regional scope. We are proud to be home to vital amenities such as health services, financial institutions, retail outlets, dining options, as well as cultural, social, and recreational facilities. In recent years, we have made significant strides in infrastructure development to support both our business community and residential growth. Our ongoing commitment to sustainability is evident through initiatives such as towards net zero housing and deep energy retrofit projects, in which the town has partnered with, amongst many other initiatives. I am encouraged by the recent population growth of 4.4% for our town in the 2021 census. We are focused on enhancing our community's livability and accessibility through initiatives such as the Housing Accelerator Fund, active living strategies, including Make Your Move New Glasgow, and the adoption of our updated Accessibility Action Plan for the 2025 to 2028 period. As we advance with this work and all town initiatives, we remain guided by the lens of our celebration of diversity, the path forward for our future, equity, and anti-racism plan. Looking ahead, we are mindful of challenges posed by inflation and increasing service demands. Our budget priorities include addressing provincial education costs in the tax rate, enhancing public works service delivery, supporting essential first responder services of police and fire, and meeting our obligations under various regional agreements and our own collective bargaining arrangements. Our general and water capital projects, totaling over $17.5 million, will encompass critical improvements across several areas, including investments in information technology, paving, sanitary sewer expansion, storm sewer separation. Other capital spending includes energy efficiency initiatives, revitalization of our public library, investment in protective services equipment, and enhancements to our active living spaces. These investments are essential to sustaining New Glasgow's growth and ensuring a high quality of place for all residents. In closing, I want to reaffirm that the town of New Glasgow remains committed to fiscal responsibility while investing in the quality of life and future of our community. Our decision to maintain stable tax rate underscores this commitment, aiming to provide a conducive environment for economic prosperity and community well-being. Thank you all for your continued support and engagement in shaping the future of New Glasgow. And I would like to say special mention to Kim Livingston and our CAO, Lisa McDonald, and certainly the rest of our directors for all the work involved in putting this together. We really appreciate it, and it's a great budget. Anyway, thank you to all. And finally, we have a motion, the first reading of a development agreement application.
I hereby
Councillor Joe McDonald.
Yep, I hereby give notice pursuant to section 48 sub 1 and section 230 sub 1 of the Municipal Governments Act that the council at its meeting to be held on Monday, June 16, 2025, intend to make a decision by policy with respect to the application of Amy Suzanne McNeil / Beloved Homes and Rentals, requesting the town to enter into a development agreement for the property located at 211 North Avenue, PID number 01006337. The property is situated in the future redevelopment zone, and the purpose of the development agreement is to permit the subdivision of the subject lands into the construction of 2 4-unit residential buildings designed and configured in a townhouse single-level style. Therefore, pursuant to Section 2302 of the Municipal Governments Act, I move that council hold a public hearing prior to making a decision by policy on this application, and that it be held on Monday, June 16th, 2025.
Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Move a Counselor Joe McDonald, seconded by Counselor Jessica McDonald. Any questions on this motion?
I do have some
Go ahead.
questions.
Go ahead.
Yep. Pursuant to this, there is a couple of issues, and thank you very much, Jeffrey, for your subsequent report. I'm not sure that I can vote for this because of the issues that I've seen and that are outstanding, and to move this forward until those are resolved. That's my opinion. So
It was indicated
Thank
that
you.
before second reading. Yeah. Okay. Any further questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
nay.
Motion carried. Okay. Under new business, our accounts.
Yes, your worship, I would move that we pay the bills for the period April 2nd to May 7th, 2025.
Moved by Counselor Fraser,
I'll second that.
seconded by Counselor Joe McDonald. Any questions on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And finally, a recommendation from our in-camera meeting.
It is the recommendation to council to proceed with facilitating the demolition of 269 Mitchell Street, PID number 009555716 through a contractor and apply the cost to the tax account for the property.
Yes, your worship, I'll move that we accept the recommendation.
Moved by Counselor Joe
Seconded.
McDonald,
I'll second that.
seconded by Counselor Jessica McDonald. Any questions on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. A motion to adjourn. Thank you, Counselor. Oh, Deputy Mayor Dorrington. Okay,